Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This is the 9th video in our series. The Death of the Fox. Meanwhile, the lord of the castle was abroad chasing the fox. A while he lost him, and as he rode through a spinney, he heard the hounds near at hand, and Reynold came creeping through a thick grove with all the pack at his heels. Then the lord drew out his shining brand and cast it at the beast, and the fox swerved aside for the sharp edge, and would have doubled back, but a hound was on him ere he might turn, and right before the horse's feet they all fell on him and worried him fiercely, snarling the while. Then the lord leapt from his saddle and caught the fox from the jaws, and held it aloft over his head, and hallooed loudly, and many brave hounds bayed as they beheld it. And the hunters hied them thither, blowing their horns. All that blare bugles blew them at once, and all the others shouted. 'Twas the merriest meeting that ever men heard, the clamor that was raised at the death of the fox. They rewarded the hounds, stroking them and rubbing their heads, and took Reynard and stripped him of his coat. Then blew their horns. They turned them homewards, for it was nightfall. The lord was gladsome at his return, and found a bright fire on the hearth, and the knight beside it, the good Sir Gawain, who was joyous in mood for the pleasure he had had with the ladies. He wore a robe of blue that reached even to the ground, and a surcoat richly furred that became him well. A hood like to the surcoat fell on his shoulders, and all alike were done about with fur. How Sir Gawain kept not all the covenant. He met the host in the midst of the floor, and jesting, he greeted him and said, "Now shall I be the first to fulfill our covenant which we made together when there was no lack of wine?" Then he embraced the knight and kissed him thrice, as solemnly as he might. "Of a sooth," quoth the other, "ye have good luck in the matter of this covenant, if ye made a good exchange." "Yea, it matters not of the exchange," quoth Gawain, "since what I owe is swiftly paid." "Marry," said the other, "mine is behind, for I have hunted all this day, and naught have I got but this foul fox skin, and it is but poor payment for 3 such kisses as ye have given me." "Enough," quoth Sir Gawain, "I thank ye by the rood." Then the lord told them of his hunting, and how the fox had been slain. With mirth and minstrelsy, and dainties at their will, they made them as merry as a folk well might, till 'twas time for them to sever, for at last they must needs betake them to their beds. Then the knight took his leave of the lord, and thanked him fairly. "For the fair sojourn that I have had here in this high feast, may the high king give ye honour. I give ye myself as one of your servants, if ye so like, for I must needs, as you know, go hence with the morn, and ye will give me, as ye promised, a guide to show me the way to the Green Chapel, and God will suffer me on New Year's Day to deal the doom of my weird." "By my faith," quoth the host, "all that I ever promised, that shall I keep with good will." Then he gave him a servant to set him in the way, and lead him by the downs, that he should have no need to ford the stream, and should fare by the shortest route through the groves, and Gawain thanked the Lord for the honour done him. How Sir Gawain took leave of his host. Then he would take leave of the ladies, and courteously he kissed them, and spake, praying them to receive his thanks, and they made like reply. Then with many sighs they commended him to Christ, and he departed courteously from that folk. Each man that he met, he thanked him for his service and his solace, and the pains he had been at to do his will. And each found it as hard to part from the knight as if he had ever dwelt with him. Then they led him with torches to his chamber, and brought him to his bed to rest. That he slept soundly, I may not say, for the morrow gave him much to think on. Let him rest a while, for he was near that which he sought, and if ye will but listen to me, I will tell you how it fared with him thereafter. Part 4. Now the new year drew nigh, and the night passed, and the day chased the darkness, as it's God's will. but wild weather wakened therewith. The clouds cast the cold to the earth with enough of the north to slay them that lacked clothing. The snow drave smartly, and the whistling wind blew from the heights and made great drifts in the valleys. The knight, lying in his bed, listened, for though his eyes were shut, he might sleep but little, and hearkened every cock that crew. He arose ere the day broke by the light of a lamp that burned in his chamber, and called to his chamberlain, bidding him bring his armor and saddle his steed. The other gat him up, and fetched his garments, and robed Sir Gawain. The robing of Sir Gawain. First he clad him in his clothes to keep off the cold, and then in his harness, which was well and fairly kept. Both hauberk and plates were well burnished, the rings of the rich brynie freed from rust, and all as fresh as at first, so that the knight was fain to thank them. Then he did on each piece, and bade them bring his steed, while he put the fairest raiment on himself. His coat, with its fair cognizance, adorned with precious stones upon velvet, with broidered seams, and all furred within with costly skins. And he left not the lace, the lady's gift that Gawain forgot not, for his own good. When he had girded on his sword, he wrapped the gift twice around him, swathed around his waist. The girdle of green silk set gaily and well upon the royal red cloth, rich to behold. But the knight, were it not for pride of the pendants, polished though they were with fair gold that gleamed brightly on the ends, but to save himself from sword and knife, when it behooved him to abide his hurt without question. With that the hero went forth, and thanked that kindly folk full often. Then was Gringlet ready, that was great and strong, and had been well cared for and tended in every wise. For in fair condition was that proud steed, one fit for a journey. Then Gawain went to him, and looked on his coat, and said by his sooth, This is a folk in this place that thinketh on honour. Much joy may they have, and the Lord who maintains them. And may all good betide that lovely lady all her long life. Since they for charity cherish a guest, and hold honour in their hands, may he who holds the heavens on high requite them, and also ye all. And if I might live any while on earth, I would give ye full reward readily, if so I might. How Sir Gawain went forth from the castle. Then he set foot in the stirrup, and bestrode his steed, and his squire gave him his shield, which he laid on his shoulder. Then he smote Gringlet with his golden spurs, and the steed pranced on the stones, and would stand no longer. By that his man was mounted to bear his spear and lance, and Gawain quoth, I command this castle to Christ. May he give it ever good fortune. Then the drawbridge was let down, and the broad gates unbarred, and opened on both sides. The knight crossed himself, and passed through the gateway, and praised the porter who knelt before the prince, and gave him good day, and commended him to God. Thus the knight went on his way with the one man who should guide him to that dread place where he should receive rueful payment. The two went by hedges where the boughs were bare, and climbed the cliffs where the cold clings. Naught fell from the heavens, but 'twas ill beneath them. Mist brooded over the moor and hung on the mountains. Each hill had a cap, a great cloak of mist. The streams foamed and bubbled between their banks, dashing sparkling on the shores where they delved downwards. Rugged and dangerous was the way through the woods till it was time for the sunrising. Then were they on a high hill. The snow lay white beside them, and the man who rode with Gawain drew rein by his master. The squire's warning. Sir, he said, I have brought ye hither, and now ye are not far from the place that ye have sought so specially. But I will tell ye forsooth, for I know ye well, and ye are such a knight as I well love. Would ye follow my counsel, ye would fare the better. Of the Knight of the Green Chapel. The place whither ye go is accounted full perilous, for he who liveth in that waste is the worst on earth, for he is strong and fierce, and loveth to deal mighty blows. Taller is he than any man on earth, and greater of fame than any four in Arthur's court or in any other. And this is his custom at the Green Chapel. There may no man pass by that place, however proud his arms, but he does him to death by force of his hand, for he is a discourteous knight and shows no mercy. Be he churl or chaplain who rides by that chapel, monk or mass priest or any man else, he thinks it as pleasure to slay them as to pass alive himself. Therefore, I tell ye as sooth as ye sit in saddle, if ye come there, and that knight know it, ye shall be slain, though ye had 20 lives, trow me that truly. He has dwelt here full long and seen many a combat. Ye may not defend ye against his blows. Therefore, good Sir Gawain, let the man be, and get ye away from some other road. For God's sake, seek ye another land, and there may Christ speed ye. And I will hie me home again, and I promise ye further that I will swear by God and the saints, or any other oath ye please, that I will keep counsel faithfully, and never let any wit the tale that ye fled for fear of any man. And we'll continue with the story in the next video. Please reach down, click like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. I love you guys, as Tigger says. Ta-ta for now.